So we're going to be having a conversation about how AI is changing the work we do today. We're going to have conversations about how it is redefining how we build, design, and secure our systems. So I'm going to introduce our speakers, or our panelists rather, starting from Oleg. Oleg is a staff software engineer at Google and is the lead developer on Jules, which is Google's AI coding agent. He has over 15 years of experience building software and focuses on making engineering tools smarter. So can we please welcome, let's give me a large, big round of applause to the stage. Thank you. Our next speaker is Ifeoluwa Sobogun, and he's a tech lead at Paystack. He spends his time building and architecting reliable, resilient payment systems that supports millions of users. And his background is in system design and solving problems at scale. Can we please give me a large round of applause? Lastly, we have Julian Duru, who is an independent researcher who works at the intersection of the industrialized system and AI with over a decade of experience in engineering and technical leadership. And he focuses on building scalable systems and guiding teams towards high impact work. Let's give me a very, very big round of applause. Thank you. Okay, so we're just going to go straight into it. Like I said, we're going to be talking about AI and how it's changing the way we work today. So I'm going to start with Ifeoluwa. So today we have lots of teams using AI for different reasons. How do you think it's changing the way we work as a team today?
Hi everybody. My name is Ife, as heard. So I think the most important or like the biggest way that AI is changing the way that we work is just in the type of work that we do, right? So there has been a massive shift in the complexity and the type of work that we do. Previously, there were such low-level tasks that we'd have to spend so much time on. We needed to get into the grunt work, build a lot of low-level things, set up a server, do a lot of bootstrapping. But now we no longer have to spend so much time doing all of those things because there are LLMs, there are agents that can help with all of this setting up. And that gives you back some time that you get to spend on more important work. And engineers now have to spend a lot of their time on just thinking about the system, thinking about the architecture, thinking about like processes rather than the implementation itself. Because, for example, there are so many things that are repetitive. There are so many things that I have to do so many times over and over and over again. And these are the kind of tasks that LLMs do well at, right? Repetitive tasks that follow a pattern. There's something that you can do. You just need to give certain steps or give certain instructions, and it's able to execute. But now you don't have to do those things. You have more time to do things that either you could not do before or things that would have taken a really long time. Your focus has shifted from doing a lot of grunt work to doing a lot of like high-level planning and architecture.
Thank you very much. That's very insightful. I mean, today we now use AI for things like writing our code. We use it for even reviewing. So it has been very helpful. But Oleg, do you think there are some disadvantages to using AI in our work processes?
Not so many. I think there are more advantages of using AI than disadvantages. Like, of course, like AI is shaping the world a lot right now. As software engineers, we have more ability than ever. You can be more productive than you used to be before. AI can write code for you. It can come up with a design, right? Those are all the things. Like on disadvantages, I can think of you still need to understand what's going on underneath, right? The AI, the model, the agent that can come up with a complete solution for you, with a complete code. But nowadays, you still need to understand what's going on. Like if you over rely on the AI, sometimes you may forget to understand what is going on. And if you don't understand what is going on, the implementation details, you may be stuck later on when you build all those layers, and then all of a sudden I don't know what to do next. So I think it's important to understand, like, we're still engineers, right? AI is an instrument for you. It helps you to be more productive, but you still need to learn. But even learning, it gives you more ability to learn like faster. So I think I would say, like, I would summarize, like, over reliance on UI, on AI, it could be a problem. You just need to think about it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Like, I used to be someone that didn't want to use AI for anything. I wanted to do the work myself. So I realized how useful it was. Obviously, you need to know where to draw the line. You need to know what kind of information you're feeding, into the AI. So this one is for you, Julian. Um, do you think there's anything particularly that we shouldn't make automated in our work process?
So, for anyone who has built any reasonably complex system, especially one where you get to work with a team of people, you realize that there is only so far you can automate stuff. There's some things that just can't be automated. And for the mere fact that you're working with a team of people, you need to communicate with them. You need to share context. You need to synchronize on your work. You need to be on the same page on what you're doing. And so that element where everyone gets to share context and understand the work and synchronize, you can't always try to delegate that to AI. It's good when people can, come together and
Yeah.
actually understand the work together. Then also very close to what Oleg said, that because these models have become more and more advanced these days, a lot more people have this tendency to outsource their thinking or outsource their understanding to these models, and that's not always ideal. Sometimes you might just want to rush and get the work done, but if you don't understand what's happening, you can lose track of the work. You can can become very difficult for you to make certain decisions as well.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on that.
Thank you very much. These are the kind of conversations that we should be having.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I just
oh
share?
yeah, please.
I can share a personal example.
Yes.
I was
please.
working on a feature like a month ago, and I was using AI so successfully, and I felt like, oh, it's just gonna do everything for me. And I started working on a feature, and I realized, okay, I don't need to really understand what's going on. I can just give it a task, and it's gonna come up with a solution for me. And it did. The only problem was the solution was wrong. The solution was wrong, and I spent a lot of time trying to understand, okay, what is actually going on? So eventually, I spent more time on this, like debugging the solution, than I would spend if I implemented from scratch with a good understanding. So, like, for me, it was a big lesson. Okay, I need to understand everything as an engineer. Or maybe later, when AI is going to be more advanced, like models going to be more advanced, you're going to trust it more. But nowadays, you still need to think, apply some critical thinking to the solutions, to the output.
Thank you very much. And I think I can relate to that as well. And many of us that were laughing where you give AI something to do for you, and then the result is worse than you can imagine. So you have to spend time fixing. So Ifeoluwa, I would also like to hear your perspective on this.
I think specifically on the over reliance on AI, one of the things that grounds me, because like it's very easy for people to start using AI as a tool, because I've seen people just like type prompts to the LLMs or to their agents and say, oh yeah, fix this. And it is not like they get a lot of answers, they get solutions, and it works, but then they never question why it works. They never like figure out, because like many times the LLMs will help you fix problems or give you solutions that you never had, that you could not have figured out yourself. One of the important things is when you get answers from these agents or from these LLMs, it's important for you to also figure out why it solved it that way, or like why you got that answer. In the same way that you would use Stack Overflow when you had a problem to find out, oh, why this worked or why this is a solution to the answer, why this is the solution to the problem. When you get a solution from the LLMs or from the agents or whatever AI assisted tool that you're using, it is very important for you to question and figure out why this thing works and how it works the way it does. And also for me personally, there are some things that I just will not, and I don't know, maybe it's like similar to when she said she didn't want to use AI at some point, but for me, there was some points also where like, I did not want to use AI I feel like I had to do the work. Like if AI is writing it, then it feels like I'm cheating, right? But even till now, there are some things that I feel are very important that I have to do myself, and just to keep myself grounded in the fact that I'm still keeping myself sharp with doing these things. So it's not everything that I'm giving to AI, and even some things that I give to AI, sometimes I just try to do them myself, just to remember that, oh yeah, I can still do these things, because it tends to dull your senses and tends to dull your technical skills if every time all you're doing is let AI do this, fix this, solve this, right? Even when you're doing that, it's important to make sure that you know why the AI is giving you that solution, or the agent is giving you that solution, and try as much as possible to also make sure it is not 100% offloaded to whatever agent you're using. It's like a mix. It's assisting you to do the work. You're still the primary driver for whatever it is that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a very good answer. So we've talked about the security, or rather the reliability issues that come with using AI. What about like security? Because every day, even as we have these issues that AI gives us, people still trust it a lot. They rely on it a lot. So, what do you think? This is for Oleg and then Julian as well. But Oleg first, what do you think are the security issues that can arise from depending on AI laws by giving it, by allowing it to take the forefront and making decisions for us?
So I will repeat myself. I think one of the biggest security issues right now is like lack of understanding what is going on underneath. When you rely on the solution and you don't really check it, it may introduce problems. It might be a security violation, or might be a reliability problem. It could be anything, right? And I don't want to like feel like that I'm discouraging to use AI. Like I think like in your daily work, you should use AI as much as possible. If you are not using AI right now, if you're not using agents, like please do. They make you like so much more productive, like amazingly productive. But like you need to check everything. You need to understand what is going on. Because if you over rely it, you may end up with security problems or reliability problems. Because it's still an AI, it's still a model. Like if you think about it, it produces just a text. It doesn't think. It feels like it thinks, but it's not, right? It could be wrong. So I would say this is like, again, like one of the biggest problems, lack of understanding what is going on, and it could lead to any problem, like security and reliability.
Thank you, Julian.
Yes, so I would say that it's looking like the nature of work is shifting, and so we need to embrace the change, but make sure that we stay grounded with whatever it is that we're doing. So even though you're using LLMs or AI models to do your work, there has to be careful review of what is going on, review and understanding of what's going on. And in that review process, you can get to catch security bugs or security vulnerabilities. I think any organization that is building software that intends to scale should take security very seriously. And typically in big organizations, they have processes for reviewing code, for managing security, running it through checks. So all these are standard procedure that you need to adopt if you're building software.
So much. Ifeoluwa, this one is for you. So, like Julian said, um, the more we use AI, everything is growing, things are changing fast. So it almost seems like the expectation for engineers are also changing as well. So do you have any insights, or can I say anything that new engineers should know, maybe learn or have in mind so that they can prepare for this new shift?
I think the most important thing for new engineers and for engineers generally is just still to remain grounded in the fundamentals, right? That is never going to change, because as Julian and Oleg have alluded to, whatever agent or whatever AI model, whatever AI assisted tool you're using will come up with code, will come up with solutions that you need to be able to understand. And the only way you will be able to understand these things is if you have like you're grounded in your fundamentals, you know what is happening, you know what is going on. So that is one thing, just understanding, because I think I see some people say today, oh, you no longer need to learn how to write code, AI will write all the code for you. You no longer need to know how to do networks and all of these things. But I don't think that is correct, right? These things are still very important. Understanding, because when AI gives you, like the question you asked about security, when AI gives you code that is insecure, like if you do not know what is secure or what the right thing should be, you will not know how to correct it, right? You are going to allow it and you're going to get into security problems. So I think the most important thing still is to make sure that your fundamentals are sound. The next thing is just trying to figure out how to use yeah, I think like you mentioned, like you mentioned, it is very important that you start figuring out how to use AI and agents in your workflow because it's multiplies your productivity and delivery by like an exponential amount if you use it the right way, right? So if you as a junior engineer or a mid-level engineer can use AI in the right way, give it the right context, structured data in the right way, you are able to do work that probably you could not do just by yourself, right? It gives you an advantage. You're able to deliver on things that you probably could not do if you had just your tools without AI. So I think that's one thing that people need to figure out how to work with models, figure out how to work with the agents to deliver the things that they need to do. And yeah, I think that and your fundamentals would be good enough.
Thank you. I would like to hear your points of view on this, Oleg, and also going a bit into the management side of things. What do you think maybe team leads or people that are in higher positions in companies, how do you think they should prepare better for what's to come in AI and how should they organize their teams to follow?
I think as a manager, as a lead, you right now you need to think how to integrate AI in your daily work, right? If you're engineering lead and your team doesn't use any like coding agents right now, you are probably like you need to introduce it, right? So you need to think about it, and even going to like level below, if you're just engineer, like, and if you're not a manager, uh, just using an agent is already feels like you're a manager. You just have a lot of like agents that you manage, right? It's a different abstraction layer, right? So you become like a mini manager of your coding agents. I think it shifts kind of thinking how the team is organized, right? And the team, like another aspect of it would be the complexity of work and the output you're gonna get with using the models, right? If you are like a regular engineering team, like 5, 6 years ago, you can produce some output, but right now, if you're using AI and models, you can produce 10 times more output, right? And you may be thinking about it. Okay, now I can produce more. I can have less engineers in a team, or I can do more work. This is a, I think this is a question like everybody like will be asking themselves. Do I have a smaller team or I have a bigger output? Like I have a like bigger business value in what I do.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so just still a different point, but just regarding the impact of AI on our workflow. So imagine that AI is able to multiply your productivity, 10x your effort or your capacity. So it turns out that you still need to grow your personal capacity, either as an engineer or product manager or whatever it is you're doing. And if you think about it, if you're already great at what you do and then you 10x it with AI, you become 10x. If you're already 10x and AI does a 10x for you, you become 100x. And you can see that the gap between 100x and 10x is like a lot more. So you can just reason that you yourself need to grow your capacity regardless of whether or not these tools exist. Grow your capacity, grow your understanding of the fundamentals so that when you start to work with AI, there's just a lot more that you can accomplish.
I like to say that when you're working with AI, it's like you have a personal assistant that you don't pay, or unless you want to upgrade or something. So it's a nice way to see, see it as someone that helps you, but also you shouldn't let it overcome or overtake the work that you do. So I'd like to ask a very important question that I know some people have in their minds. Do you think, this is for everyone, but I'll start with Felloa. Do you think AI is going to take our jobs?
I think it's a bit of yes and no, right? Like Julian just mentioned, and I think Oleg also alluded to, there are, like, AI is here to stay. People are using AI. AI is making people more efficient than ever before. So the people whose jobs will be most at risk are the people that have decided to not use AI and have decided to like stagnate. Because the reality is, in many cases, there are models that are good enough to do the work that a junior engineer might be able to do, right? So it's like a lot of the grunt work, a lot of the boilerplates is going to make a lot of mistakes, and it just needs someone to review that work. So the barrier to entry for engineers these days feels like it's been raised. So engineers need to do a lot more, like in the AI age, essentially, to be good enough to be hired. I think that is one. Those are some people that their jobs might be at risk. But if you do the work and like you put in the effort to be better, right? You use AI in your workflows. You figure out how to be. You can use AI to learn, to get better, to improve yourself, to deliver things. Your job, I do not think, will be at risk because at the core of it, AI really, the AI and the agents, they are really just tools to help engineers work, right? The people that will take the most advantage of AI are still engineers. Just need to position yourself as the kind of engineer that can take advantage of it. So that is one thing. Yeah, so like your job will not be at risk if you are taking advantage of AI and like you are not raising your nose and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm never going to use it. I'm not going to do this," because when you do, the value of your work and like the amount of work you can produce will be a lot more.
Yeah, thank you. Quickly, because we have a few minutes left. Oleg, can I get your
Okay, let me answer with a comparison, right? Let's think about IT industry right now, and I like to think about it with what's happening with IT industry right now. It's probably similar to what happened to car industry about 100 years ago, right? How people used to build cars. They used to build cars like manually. Like as a car engineer, you had to know like everything, how to build engine from scratch, how to build like all the components of a car. It was built manually, right? Pretty much how like software is built right now. You need to code everything. But what happened with the car industry? Machinery came and automation came, right? And less people knew how to build engine, right? After that. But what happened to the industry overall? The car production became more efficient. It became cheaper, right? And overall, the car production increased. So it's fair to say that automation made to the car industry, like more people started to be employed in the industry. So more people started to be busy. It created more jobs, like comparing to if cars are produced just manually. Of course, even right now, some of the cars produced like manually. If you want to buy Ferrari, right, it's going to be produced manually. This will be great performing cars. But Toyota is produced automatically and it's cheaper. Like everybody can buy like Toyota, but like limited number of people can buy like Ferrari. Like same to IT industry, right? As software will become cheaper, right? And industry will grow. And likely more people will be, like overall, more people will be employed by the industry. But the work nature may be a little different. You may not necessarily need to be like a great like coder in the future, but you may still need to be like, you still need to be a great like engineer. You still need to have a critical thinking, like engineering thinking. So to answer your question, does like AI stealing our jobs? I think no. But does it shape like how we understand the job? Yes.
Thank you, Julian.
Yeah, so it's always an interesting question. I would say that the nature of artificial intelligence today is largely automation, and you can also view AI as a kind of knowledge worker, but it will keep getting better over time until we maybe solve for general intelligence. But let's just imagine that it's going on the current trajectory. A lot of work will continue getting automated. There's a lot of work that people are doing now, knowledge workers are doing that would kind of be automated by AI, especially if the knowledge is out there and these models are training on it. So where can you stand out? What can you do to set yourself apart? I guess it's to hold on to or to double down on work that can't really be automated or outsourced to AI. Work that requires the human element, wisdom, common sense, taking ownership, taking initiative. A lot of these things are things that AI would not really be able to do. Even no matter how advanced it gets, there's always that human element that comes into play with working when you're building software. And so, if you are someone who grows your reputation for delivering value, executing on the job, being someone who is trustworthy, who takes ownership of the work, I don't think there's any AI that will just come and replace you, no matter how intelligent it is. At best, you will just be able to work with it to be able to even do more. So that's my thought on it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I actually really agree with that. I think AI is here to stay. There's nothing we can do about it. But we just have to stand out. We have to show that through the kind of work that we do and, just hope for the best. So my last question for Oleg, and there are new roles that we have today because of AI that we've never had before. Do you see any new, any roles or any job titles that may appear soon because of AI?
That's an interesting one. I think recently it became a job like a prompt engineering. With a modern AI like world, it's pretty much everyone like everything boils down to how you ask a model, right? The better prompt you can craft, the better response you can get. So I think like prompt engineering is one of the interesting like fields which emerged, and maybe and I would say like a lot of other jobs in the industry, they now starts to boil down to how you craft a prompt. So I think this is important aspect of not like a new completely job, but how to better ask questions, which is a great skill overall, but now with AI it's becoming more and more critical.
Yeah, thank you, Julian. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think as AI continues to get better and improve, there probably will be need for people to become a bit more generalist, to know how to do stuff or reason across their immediate domain. And the reason for this is if you think about it, if someone who only just knows how to write code and they don't know anything else outside of code, that's not bad. You can learn different things at different points. But as time goes on, you want to be able to accomplish a lot more with the AI models and with the tools that are available. And it helps if you are well rounded, if you are someone who is wide but also deep in what you do, someone who has that ability to soak in knowledge from the people around you or from the work that you do. I think that will be very, very important.
I completely agree. That's very, very true. So my last question, quickly, Ifeoluwa, what advice would you now give new engineers if they're looking for new roles? Should they already know how to use AI or work with AI, or what would you just tell them to do starting out in a tech or engineering?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned the most important thing is to sometimes it's difficult, right? There are a lot of things that you need to listen to, pay attention to. It feels like you need to learn this right now or else you'll be left behind. But I think the most important thing is just figuring out your fundamentals still. That is still the most important thing because a good grasp of the fundamentals will help your understanding of AI and LLMs and everything else that comes with it. You can use AI to speed up that process. There are tools that can help you learn better with AI, but like the most important thing still is understanding your fundamentals and knowing how to use AI in whatever workflow it is that you're using. I think like Oleg mentioned, if you are not using AI in some way or some form, you need to start figuring out how to, right? And it might not be the entire, you don't need to go the spec driven developments where you're coming up with a spec plan. Just like figure out how to start phasing it into your workflow, how you work, how you do things, because it would greatly improve your efficiency and your delivery and the things that you can do. So, but fundamentals, figuring out how to use AI, those are the two most important things that I would say to engineers that are starting up right now.
Insightful, and I hope you guys have learned something from this session.
Stand up.